Hello, everyone. I want to encourage you today with a story of God's transforming power in the life of my friend Dennis Charley. Dennis and I have gotten to know each other over the last 10 years, and every time I come through Glen Allen, I stop at his house and we sit at his table and talk about all the amazing things God's doing. Just recently, I decided to record his testimony and share it with you. So over the next 30 minutes, I encourage you to listen to his story. And if you are struggling with any of the things that Dennis went through, I encourage you to talk to Dennis or talk to me or talk to anyone that you know has had victory in their life after they've gone through really hard times. You know, Satan is called the God of this world. In 2 Corinthians 4:4, Paul said that the God of this world blinds the eyes of unbelievers, that they can't even see the glorious gospel of Jesus Christ. In 1 John chapter 3, verse 8, it says, the Son of Man came to destroy the work of the enemy. And so that is what we do. That is who we are as the body of Christ. That's Dennis's goal, and that's my goal, and many of you who are watching it, that is your calling as well. So watch this video and be encouraged today, in Jesus' name.
I was taught Christ till I was about 13 years old. When I was 13, I moved away from my grandparents and moved back with my mom, and this was on the reservation in Arizona. The church that was on the reservation, maybe 10 out of a few hundred. 10 people go to church. That the whole reservation life was, it was really a third world country. A lot of despair, a lot of distress, a lot of anger, things that just, it was dark, dark, really dark. And I learned how to smoke dope. I learned how to drink on the reservation. It was taught to me to do this. I had about almost every kind of drug that you can think of, except for the stuff that they have today, till I was 24. When I was 24 years old, we were having a party at a friend of mine's place in Anchorage. And we were on a 2-story building, and we were drinking and we were partying it up and coke and all these things, and we were just doing it just like, like it was just candy, and I was so jacked up one night that I wanted to jump off a 2-story building. And it wasn't because I was suicidal. It was because I was Superman. I was about ready to jump off that building, and a friend of mine, he grabbed me by the shirt and he pulled me back and he looked at me and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Man, I gotta jump, I gotta go, I gotta do it. Just, I need to bust out, I need to." What he did, he gave me $5 bill and he said, "Go run down to the liquor store and get yourself a half pint." So I did that. I ran all the way down and ran all the way back, and I drank that half pint in one shot. And next thing I know, I woke up next morning. I remember what I did. I was about ready to jump off that building. And I said in my heart, no more. I didn't do no more drugs. No more drugs. I just stayed with alcohol. From about 11 years, 13 to 24, that's all I ever, drugs and alcohol, drugs and alcohol. 24, I quit everything I did except for the alcohol. The alcohol had that bind on me because it was the only thing that I thought I could control. And it's a thing about thinking, what you can do and what you can't. You think you can control it. Whew. Boy, was I wrong. Alcohol, it took a lot away from me. It took my family, it took my kids, where I didn't want to be around anyone. I stayed in this house, I stayed in this old house over here. I stayed in that house and, I listened to music, I listened to music and Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, AC/DC, Judas Priest, all these guys, it just, when I was drinking, you could feel that power in that music, you could feel that power, that strength in it while you were drinking and you're high and it just, it just surges right through you. And it was when I came out of it, became a Christian, and you realize it, it was a form of worshiping the devil. It was so dark, Metallica was, I hear, when I heard that, that song, Unforgiven, or Nothing Else Matters. You could just feel, I felt that, just that real dark depression, but there was power too, where you could just yell, nothing else matters, because there was nothing in this life that really mattered to me, except for what I was doing and what I needed to do for myself, that selfish desire to get drunk and feel sorry for myself. Because that's what I was doing, was worshiping the devil without knowing it. Worshiping myself, worshiping Baal, self, pride. Don't need no help from nobody. I don't need nothing from anyone. But as in all of us, God gave us that sense of needing people and having a companion. And I needed that. And I got married. And it was a disaster. And I went to jail many times because of that. I remember, before 2000, I had 3 DUIs, and I remember in 1999, my last DUI, I prayed out to God. I was down in that jail cell down here, I was praying to him. I was drunk. I was saying, man, I need to get out of this. I need to quit this. And I prayed, I said, Father, help me to get out of this. I guess he heard me. Because that was my last DUI. But that cry was more for, that drink. I needed to get out of that drink. I needed to quit. I needed to do something more. I knew there was something more to life than just drinking and going to jail all the time. And but he didn't answer for many years. But he did answer that cry about drinking and driving. I didn't have it. I didn't do any more after that. And he breaks us to the point, he breaks us and he breaks us down to a point to where, we need him. And every once in a while we'll call on him, but we'll fall back into that pit. And that's what I did most of my life. Until 2009, where he completely broke me. Not completely, but he broke me to the point where I was relying on someone else. I fell off the roof here and messed up, broke my legs, and had to be in the hospital for 3 months, 5 operations on it, and had to learn to walk all over again after 3 months because I was bedridden because for my legs to heal again. And after 3 months, I had to learn to walk all over again. But as I was recovering from that fall, my wife divorced me. We got divorced, and I was completely alone again. But God has a way of putting somebody in your life. And my daughter, he put her in my life in 1993. But the thing about that, I didn't have no love for her. When she was 4 years old, I haven't seen her since she was born. When she was 4 years old, she looked at me and she asked me, "Are you my dad?" And she looks at me and I go, "Yeah." And I walked away. Nothing, didn't feel nothing in my heart. Didn't feel nothing. My heart was so hard, I could not be comforted by those beautiful, big, bright eyes. That's what I call her, my bright eyes, because when I first time I held her and I seen her, she had the brightest eyes I ever seen, and I could just see her just saying, "Wow, this is my dad," and me saying, "Wow, this is my daughter." But 4 years later, I did not have no heart for that, for her. Until she grew up. When she was 17, she moved in. And me and my wife split up, and she moved out, and my daughter moved in, and we started getting to know each other. And she had to move out again because she couldn't stand the way I was. I was trying to be a dad, where she wanted to get to know me. But I was telling her she had to do this, do that, do this, do that, and I didn't have no right then, I guess, But, so she moved out. But the thing she taught me was this unconditional love. She taught me this. The things that she went through, all the things that she went through, she could have blamed me for these things. Where were you? Why weren't you there? She could have said that to me. But you know what she said? "I know you couldn't help it." She still loved me. And I go, how can that be? I'm beating myself up because of these things, I should have been there. My nephew, he passed away. He got killed by, he got stabbed. And I was beating myself up for that too, because it was my job to bring him up, to teach him the way of the world, to teach him God and Christ also. To be a man. And I failed. And sometimes I still bothers me. But God, being who He is and being gracious and merciful, He takes it from me. He's forgiven me. My daughter's forgiven me. And I go, So she moved out and I was alone, all alone again. And the only thing, I had nothing to look forward to. And all I could think of is something that I felt comfortable. All my life, I always felt comfortable. And I went back to that drink. I started drinking again after 2.5 years of sobriety. Because when I fell off the roof, I didn't want to drink anymore after that because I knew it would hinder my healing. But after everything just came crashing down on me, I needed something to rely on, something to be comforted by, and that alcohol did that for me. Week after I started drinking, my daughter's mom called me up, told me, city cop just brought Amanda home. That's her name, my daughter's name. I said, oh, I'm sitting right where you're sitting, beer right in front of me. And somebody else here with me, drinking with me, and I'm talking to her, and I'm a little bit buzzed, and I'm talking. I said, well, let me talk to her. And she got on the phone with me. And, she was drinking. That's why the cops brought her home. She was drinking. And I asked her, how come you drinking? And she told me straight up, you and Mom can drink, so can I. That beer I had in front of me, I made this promise. I never felt accountable to anyone in my whole life. Not even to my daughter, not even my son, not to anyone. Until that day, that night, that moment, when she told me that, I'm drinking because of you. I knew what I had to do. That beer gave it away. 2 cases of beer in here, I gave it all away. And I told her, I will not do this again. I will not drink again. I told her that, Promise. I've broken so many promises to her, This promise, it was, I needed to keep it. 1 week later, from not drinking, well, I needed a drink. I needed a drink really bad. I needed it so bad. It was just, just tearing me up. My Bible was sitting on this stove right here, this toy stove right here. It was open and it was screaming at me, I am right here, I am right here, I am right here. And I picked it up. And I asked where to begin. And he told me at the beginning. October 27th, 2012, I quit drinking. I took my last drink that night. November 7th, week later, I picked up that Bible and I started reading. And I haven't quit since, to this day. There was a promise that I told her that I promised her I would not drink anymore. And I needed to keep that promise because I knew if she kept on drinking, if I kept on drinking, she would be worse than me. I needed a way out. I needed to find a way out. Christ gave me that way. And today, He's given me a lot more than I ever asked for. You know, depression is a very bad thing, you know. I mean, it's something that controls you. And if you don't know how to treat it, you know, it's destructive. And part of that destruction is drinking. You know, drinking is it's a false, it's a lie. You know, we drink to feel better. Drink to feel better. But whenever I drank when I was depressed, it wasn't any good because I was you get into that place of self-pity. More so when you're drinking. I sit over there in that house, middle of winter time, and I just sit there with the TV on, only light that would, because I didn't want to turn no lights on. Just sit in the dark and just feel sorry for myself. Not knowing how to get out of it, it just, it's a lost hope. And not having any way of getting around because I don't think I had a car. And, being up here and, people wouldn't come visit me, no one come around. And it just, we call it cabin fever up here. Cabin fever because, it's just four walls, and it's just closing in on you, and you need to get out, go do something, I mean, that's what God, He's put in our DNA, He said, you can't just sit here on your butt and just, feel sorry for yourself. You gotta get up and do something. But in our carnal mind, we don't want to do it. We don't want to help ourselves. We blame other people because they never come around and help me. When in reality, we need to do it on our own. With Christ. Being the one. When I was in that depression, I didn't know that. I had nowhere to go. Except to the alcohol. And when I didn't have the alcohol, it was just like walking around as a zombie, trying to live, I don't know how I lived in that state. I don't know how, I really don't. I never wanted to commit suicide because I knew it was wrong. Alcohol, I knew it was wrong. I heard him calling me. I didn't know what it was. But I heard him calling me, saying, no, don't do this. Don't do it. But that bondage, being bound in this world, being bound and led by something that been there for 30 years, not knowing how to get out of it, not having any tools to fight it. I see everyone else do it, so I might as well do it myself too. It's okay, everybody else is doing it. I might as well jump off the bridge too. But Jesus said, no. You don't have to jump off that bridge. I got you right here. Walk with me. Talk with me. Rest. Rest in me, he says. Rest in me. How do we do that? How do we rest in him? How? You let go of this world. Let go of this world. Let go of everything. Everything that's entangled inside here. All the things that knot you up. All the things that make you worry. All the things you can't, that make you just so angry, so prideful, so selfish. Let it go. It all pass away anyways. Let yourself go. I am not of this world. He made me to grow to be like him. And as I grow, that's what he's creating, is a perfect man in the resurrection. We are growing with him. We're not perfect yet. We're going through this fire. He's taking out the dross. And we will be depressed. We will get depressed. But I got tools that I can fight. I used to think he was a feeling to go after. Happiness, joy, peace, to go after all these things. As soon as I came to him, I thought I would be happy. But no. I still got depressed. I still got discouraged. I still got frustrated. And I learned. I used to pray, take these things from me. But I learned to pray different. To pray, help me to get through it. So when I get depressed, I know what it is, and I know what to pray, and I know where to go. Where else could I go but to the Lord? Where else could I go? You know? It don't have to be depressing. It don't have to be dark. Because Christ is going to be there. You may not feel him, you may not feel him at all times, but he is there. I read this book, and the question was, where was God? Where was God? And that was my question, you know. And I heard a preacher talk about that one time. He said they got in an accident. They got in an accident where they had to bring him back to life 2-3 times. Where was God in all that? He was right there with him. His wife had the same kind, I forget what, broken neck or something that happened, same thing that happened to Christopher Reeve where he was paralyzed. The same thing happened to her, but she recovered. She's walking today.
Wow.
God was there. She could have been paralyzed, but God, no. He probably had his hand around that one vertebrae saying, okay, you're gonna walk. You'll be all right. No matter how much of a disaster we go through, God is there. No matter how lonely we feel, God is there. Do not be dismayed. I am always with you. That promise is true today. Here and now, He is always with us. Always with you, me, everyone who believes in Him.